This is our new segment. It is called the
Golden Baseball.
The Golden Baseball.
We go into predictions, and analysis, and 2010 review, and it's a good segment because now we can drift off. You know, now that most of the free agents have been swept off the hot stove, and we can go analyze and make predictions and just do all the fun stuff.
Yeah, all the stuff you love and enjoy. So we're gonna start out with our predictions. We're gonna pick 3 players who have joined new teams for 2011, and we're gonna predict how their statistics will change in 2011. So we're going to start with Adam Dunn. So what are your picks for Adam Dunn?
Well, I have Adam Dunn hitting 47 home runs, 255 batting average, and driving in 115 runs. And this is because we're looking at a guy who has averaged 98 RBIs, but that's because he had some seasons where the RBI total was lower. Over the past couple years, he's driven in, actually since 2007, he's driven in over 100 runs each year, has hit over 30 home runs, and now we're moving to a ballpark that's definitely shorter.
It's a home run happy park.
It's a home run happy park, and he's going to be next to Paul Cornacco. Those guys together are going to send moonshots. It is going to be brutal for AL Central pitchers. And the pitching staff, it isn't really insanely impressive of all the pitchers and starting pitchers in the AL Central. Obviously, you got Verlander and Brian Dunsing and some other guys and Liriano, but it's gonna be ugly for the rest of the Central, in my opinion.
My picks were very similar to yours for Dunn. I had 44 home runs. I was just a little lower than you in both home run and batting average. I went down to 245. This guy isn't somebody who's hit for average over his career. He's an all-or-nothing hitter. So, the last couple of years he was in the 260s range for batting average, but with the pitching he'll contend with in the American League Central, I think that's going to go down a little bit. And 112 RBI I give him. Yeah. So
now we're going to move on to Jason Worth. I have him hitting 20 home runs, 277 batting average, and 80 RBIs. I think 20 home runs is a reasonable expectation because he's done pretty well at Nationals ballpark, and he knows the NL East, and I don't think that he's going to be as good as he was last year, but
no, I mean last year he had 27 home runs, so your pick of 20 is not even that far off.
And it's gonna hurt moving to Nationals ballpark because it's not as much of a bandbox as it is in Philadelphia. 80 RBIs only because he only had 85 RBIs with the Phillies last year. Not the clutchest hitter actually. Despite all the hype that he was given by the media. Obviously, I think he's a great player, but he's not as great as people have made him out to be. And the Nationals sort of bought into that. Really,
he's not going
to only have 85 RBIs on a team like the Phillies, on an offensive team like the Phillies, where you've got Shane Victorino, Plasto Polanco with 300 last year, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard batting before you. I mean, you'd think there'd be more opportunities with that 296 batting average and 27 home runs. And you would expect a guy like that in those situations to have at least 100 RBIs. So he wasn't the clutchest hitter. Obviously, he's done well in the postseason, but in the regular season, not very productive with men on base.
And he's not going to be in the postseason with the Nationals. I have him hitting 23 home runs, 252 batting average, 77 RBIs. And remember, he's moving from the Phillies to the Nationals. Now he's going to have to face Phillies pitching, and Phillies pitching got a lot more intense this year.
Yeah.
Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, Cole Hamels, and who am I forgetting? And Roy Oswalt.
And even the other teams don't have bad pitching. You look at the Braves. They were in the top 10. You look at the Mets, they were in the top 10.
The Marlins
even the Marlins have made additions. It's not gonna be good for the Nationals.
The one team you went to in this division is the one team you want to face in this division, pitching wise.
Yeah.
So he's going to be facing a lot tougher pitching. I'm meaner than you with the batting average. I'm going down to 252.
Yeah, money talks. But anyway, now we're going to move on to Adrian Gonzalez. My prediction, 45 home runs. This may seem a little bloated. 325 batting average and 125 run batted in. He's going to be explosive next year. And part of that is because he goes the other way a lot, and he's a big doubles hitter. And the problem with San Diego is that it's such a pitcher's ballpark that a lot of line drives would end up in the gloves of an outfielders. But those same balls would either go over the wall of the Green Monster at Fenway or go off it. I mean, he's going to bang tons of balls off that wall. He's going to hit a lot of bombs. That's why the batting average is going up. Obviously, the right field pole is pretty short, and right field in general isn't that short. It gets deeper, but it's not as deep as Petco. And he's hit 45 home runs at Petco before, so imagine the damage he can do in Fenway. He may even win the MVP. The only other factor to take into account is that he may be different in Boston because there's a lot of pressure, and he's been used to being in San Diego where there's not as much pressure. So that's the only thing, in my opinion, that might prevent him from performing.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be too big of a factor. I mean, San Diego has been a contending team in his career, and they've been in the playoffs, and they've been in that one-game playoff too, which was one of their more intense games.
And he hit a grand slam in that game
and he hit a grand slam in that game, so he knows pressure. He can deal with it. I'm giving him 42 homers, 316 average, and 125 RBI as well. He's going to love Fenway. He's going to love Boston, and they love him already.